how everything went wrong with Nick Briz by that boy A Bando. Talk to me.
Years ago, the basketball about 3 years ago, the basketball scene on YouTube was probably the best it's ever been.
Yeah, it was.
You had various popular YouTubers playing in one.
Even though we don't rock with Nick Briz no more, I'd be lying if I said I didn't really love his videos. Bro was dropping heat, straight heat, bro.
V1s, there was all types of reactions being made, and then there was also the most popular type of basketball content at the time, park takeovers. And this was a lane mainly dominated by two popular creators at the time, known as Devontae Friga and the one and only Nick Briz. And while both of them completely dominated the space, it was also for two completely different reasons, which has unfortunately led to the making of this video, because while Friga has since gone on to become one of the most loved and popular creators within the basketball space, Nick Briz, on the other hand, managed to do the complete
This is not
opposite.
Nick Briz. Why he got Chris Briz in there?
What exactly did he do? Why was it so bad? And how did he go from being one of the most popular basketball creators?
One thing I gotta say about that boy A Bando, he stayed moisturized. Oh my goodness, bro.
On the internet to one
Chef's
of the
kiss.
most hated.
Give him his flowers.
Well, that's probably what you're here to figure out. But first, if you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button to join the tribe with the biggest triber. And while you're at it, don't forget to click that very first link down below my description to join my Discord server and become an official member of the community. Now, with all of that being said, let's get into how Nick Briz ruined his YouTube career. Okay, so to start, for those of you unfamiliar with Nick Briz, he started his career off a few years ago on Instagram. He began going viral on the platform due to his insane vertical and his crazy dunking ability. His dunks weren't super flashy or something that would win an NBA dunk contest, but his vertical was so insane that it looked like he was literally floating through the air at times, and these videos would end up spreading all across the internet, specifically Instagram. And with these videos going viral on the internet, it led to him getting some opportunities within the basketball space, such as partnering up with a well-known basketball company known as Ball is Life, which is a popular media company that covers all aspects of basketball, from social media to high school to AAU to college.
That's a crazy take.
Professional level. So of course, being partnered with a platform like this will help Nick kickstart his basketball career on social media. This is when he would switch over to YouTube back on January 14th, 2020. And of course, he didn't initially start his career with park takeovers, but his videos at the time had a very similar concept early on. At first, much like his Instagram content, his YouTube videos was really focused around his ability to dunk and jump high, which even led to him posting some tutorials on how to jump higher and further. And while these tutorial videos did pretty well for him to start, Nick would quickly realize that to be successful on YouTube and in social media in general, he would have to become some sort of menace, because there's nothing that the internet loves more than drama. So this is when his YouTube content would switch from being purely about basketball to being more about the negative side of the sport. See, he ended up creating a team known as the Savage Squad, which quickly became known for their physical playstyle and their very aggressive trash talking. And due to their toxicity on the court, it seemed like every video consisted of them getting into some sort of fight or physical altercation, which led to most of these videos going insanely viral. These videos would end up blowing up all over YouTube, and before you know it, Nick would hit his first ever 100,000 subscribers. And once he got to that point, there was no looking back. Fans were intrigued to see what was next for the Savage Squad, what city was they going to, what park were they taking over, and more importantly, what altercation was going to break out next. They went to just about every major city you could think of, really focus on the rougher or hood type areas. They even went to popular hoods like O Block.
Hey. Yeah, that's definitely the plan. We coming out in the woods, boy. We out here about a block from O Block. God, I can't lie, I'm a little scared.
And with each hood they visited, it seemed like the situations they got involved in became more and more tense, even sometimes resulting in shots ringing off. At the time, there was no basketball park interviews that were more entertaining than what we were seeing from Nick Briz and the Savage Squad. And I'm sure many people that was around at that time would agree with me, because every single video Nick Briz posted to his YouTube channel was doing nearly 1 million views, if not more. And he was doing these numbers relatively easily, which triggered triggered reactions from some of the top YouTubers in the community, such as Cash Nasty and Flight Reacts. At this point, not only Nick but the entire Savage Squad probably felt like they were at the top of the world. I mean, as I just said, literally every video they posted was doing nearly 1 million views, if not more, and Nick Briz at the time was also gaining thousands of subscribers per day, which led for him going to just 100,000 subscribers to well over 600,000 subscribers in just a matter of a few weeks. But unfortunately for Nick, this high would only last for so long, because as fast as he got to the top of the industry, he would end up falling just as quickly. Everything took place on September 20th, 2021, shortly after Nick Briz would announce via Instagram that the team was pulling up to New York to play in the infamous Rucker Park, urging fans to pull up and bring out some of the best hoopers in the city, as he's always looking to recruit new people to the team.
Saying, we recruiting at all times, bro. We're recruiting at all times, bro. Bring the city out. Y'all bring the hoopers out and let's fucking get after it, bro.
And moments after this, Chris White, a popular member of the Savage Squad, took to Instagram to inform social media of his departure away from the team, stating that they were fakes instead of savages, and also including a bunch of police emojis within this post as well. This sent the internet into a frenzy because Chris was one of the
main guys, I'm not gonna lie. It was good, sincere. Bro, I'm not gonna lie. Like back then, like it was basically like Chris Briz and Nick Briz, like you thought they were brothers, you thought they were related. So the fact that you had Chris moving this way, as soon as he said, bro, I'm not with them no more, they're fake, it was like, it'd be like, who's a great duo? Who's a great duo? It would be like back when OKC, it would be like right now, the current Boston Celtics, Jaylen Brown said, yo, bro, I don't want to be with the Celtics anymore. Trade me right now. Jason Tatum, wild. He's shiesty. Like, that would be the craziest thing in the world. Nobody would expect that, but it happened.
Fan favorites of the team, mostly because whenever altercation started, he was always the one in the center of it. Whether he was pressing someone or tussling with another, 9 times out of 10, any fight you've seen in a Nick Briz video had something to do with Chris White. So obviously this caught fans off guard with him leaving, especially on the same day that they had planned to be in his home city of New York. And while many people were surprised, Chris would waste no time eventually telling the world what sparked all of this. And while in the process, he will also expose Nick for not only faking his content, but for also not paying his players, who are all key parts of the
I do remember that.
he makes.
Recording the conversation, me and Carlos. But homie just had Carlos go on live and be like, tell the people how much, you know, how great you're doing, because I give you $1,200 a month and these people are kind enough to let you stay in their house. Homie wanna jump on live and have people talking about I'm having a mental breakdown.
Yo, Carlos, bro, am I right? Isn't he giving you $1,200 a month? Yeah. Does he not own 50% of your fucking videos? Okay. Did he not stage the fights? Yeah. Did he or did he not, Carlos? I'm saying, bro. Come on.
Yo, bro sounds so scared. He's like, yeah, he did.
Free Carlos.
Fucking weirdo, bro. And he's just taking advantage of you, Carlos. This man, bro, Carlos, how can you be okay with that shit, bro? $40,000 a month. I saw one of the analytics, it was $38K. And how much he gave you with that, Carlos, last month?
Last month, he only gave me like 506.
500 is crazy.
He gave him 500, then 600 last.
Like, even if you factor in like travel costs and stuff like that, $500, $600, bro, that's crazy. And the squad is always the same 5 dudes. They're the same 5 dudes every time.
month, which is $1,100, my guy.
So of course all of this would go viral and even led to Nick Briz sparking his own Instagram live. And unfortunately in that live stream he didn't really address much of what Chris White said. He really just tried to deflect and draw the attention back to him and the Savage Squad being in Rucker Park in the upcoming days. But while Nick tried his best to just completely avoid this entire thing, Chris White wouldn't let up at all, because he would continue going on and on exposing Nick Briz on social media more and more each day.
Yo, I'll never forget the tea he was dropping. I was locked in, bro. I was so locked in. I was here for all the drama because he was not sparing nobody.
even telling the world that all of the fights that occurred in Nick's videos were actually paid actors, and the even crazier part was that nobody on the team knew about this other than Nick Briz.
That video where it was me, you, Carlos, and Iman and Akeem played with us, bro. Like, I put two guys out there that were just talking shit the whole time, bro. You almost fought one of them, remember?
I want to punch him in his face. I was really.
Yeah, bro, those were fake paid characters, bro. Like, no one knew it. I didn't tell nobody. I gotta get back to my being quiet about shit, bro. Like I was doing. Like, only you know and only I know, bro.
Yes, you heard that audio
Crazy.
recording right. Nick Briz was literally paying people to fight his own teammates without giving any types of warnings or anything of that nature, all for the sake of viral YouTube content, which is the reason why Chris White got upset. He knew that they were planning to go back to his hometown of New York City, and he didn't want Nick Briz to pull any of his funny stunts in New York, as it's a rougher area, and he didn't want any of these quote-unquote stunts to go a little bit too far.
Rucker Park. This is where everything went left. When you from New York, you know the environments. You know what's going on.
That's
you
facts.
know who's who, what's what. You know the parks, especially when you play ball in the parks. You know what parks are what, how they move, what the the general standard of going to play basketball is like there. You know that shit. All right. Nick's idea.
White bro look like Mr. Beast right here. Like Mr. Beast asking the questions. But nah, he's right. Like in New York, just like in any state where hoops get serious, where hoops is real, different people act different ways. Some people can tolerate a loss. Some people can't tolerate a loss. Some people can accept certain situations. Some people you can talk trash about certain things, but not other things. You have to know. So if you're going to sit here and pay people off and not let your own teammates who are going to be arguing with said people know that they're being paid off, it's a recipe for disaster.
Idea is to go to Rucker Park, and his statement is, I just want to play. We're just gonna go play regular basketball. I'm not doing. I know how to, handle situations. I'm not gonna go there and start a problem, man. And I told him, I said, bro, I don't think you understand. You can't just go to Rucker Park.
Rucker Park is one of those
Things
ones.
are gonna film, and people are not gonna show out, and they're not gonna put premier ballers on us, and you're not gonna get a crazy run.
So this will all continue to get worse and worse for Nick, as Chris will continue to expose him for taking advantage of his teammates as well. The teammate that Chris was really referring to the most in these videos was Carlos, a fan favorite of the Savage Squad team whom Chris claimed was autistic, and
I don't even think he was autistic for real. He was the comedic relief character of the group. So the fact that he was always like, he ended up being the one that got taken advantage of the most was crazy. Like he was like the baby of the group. You feel what I'm saying? Not like he was incompetent, but like he was more, out of everybody there, he was probably the worst basketball player out of the five. And he was also like more so just there for the vibes, it felt like sometimes.
he would allege that Nick was taking advantage of Carlos's disability by not paying him what he was worth at all, stating that Nick was only giving Carlos at most $1,200 per month while he was raking in over $40,000 per month. And he would even take this all a step further, claiming that Nick Briz even forced Carlos to sign a contract where he would control not only Carlos's Instagram account, but he would also take 50% of all the money that Carlos made from his YouTube channel as well.
Oh man, free Carlos. Let me explain you something. First of all, Nick owns and controls Carlos's Instagram. When Carlos went to go play with Duke Skywalker, Nick booted Carlos out of it, changed the password, and then forced him to sign a contract where he's making $1,200 a month, okay, and getting no money off of merch or anything, and he can use Carlos's likeness, name, in every sense. That's what he did. He locked him in.
So he owns Carlos.
Owns Carlos. And he owns his channel. He made it very clear that if Carlos ever leaves Savage Squad and goes to play with somebody else, he is going to own his Instagram, keep his Instagram, and keep his YouTube channel.
So of course, this was all bizarre information that was coming out about one of YouTube's top basketball creators, which had the entire community stirred up because, as I said, they were one of the most viral groups on the internet at the time. And all of this exposing triggered reactions from creators as big as Flight, Cash, and even Duke Dennis, which will ultimately only lead to even more drama. You see, Cash Nasty, a very respected YouTuber who's been in the community forever, was actually featured within one of Nick's videos, And within that video, there was an altercation with the guy trying to press cash, and it was later revealed that Nick actually paid this guy to start the whole confrontation. And when Cash found this out, it basically put a big dent in their friendship, because Cash was someone who always showed Nick nothing but love. So of course he felt a little betrayed, knowing that Nick would do something to possibly put his career or life in jeopardy.
And it's like, faking content isn't new. It happens all the time. Faking streams, faking viewers, it happens all the time. But when you fake, it's a different level. When you fake the content and you don't tell the person that's supposed to be on your side that you're faking the content. And you can say, yeah, it's so that I'm the only one that has to take the brunt of the blow, and they had nothing to do with it. Yes, that's true. But you're also putting them at risk. Because what if it did get to fisticuffs? What if they did actually start running a fade? That's problematic. You can't be doing that.
Which Nick would later apologize for.
Of all people, you know, this would come from him. You know, and fast forward to now, bro, that shit really hurt me, bro. That shit really hurt me, Nick. Bro, I waited 3 days. I waited 3 days for him to just come out with a serious apology, you know, just hit me up. You know, I ain't gonna say that he didn't hit me up and didn't say my bad, something like that, bro, but the apologies were beat around the bush. It wasn't him taking accountability, you know? Like, I could respect the fact if you say, yo, you know what, Cash, bro? I done this right here. You know, my bad, bro. I got caught in a moment, you know, I got caught in the YouTube algorithm getting clicks or whatever it is, you know?
Exactly.
And I wouldn't, I would have forgave them, you know? Because I would have had more respect for that.
And then came the Duke Dennis situation, which was a lot more serious. And this beef didn't end so peacefully for Nick Briz, because you see, him and Duke had a bit of a long-running beef on social media that really stemmed from Nick continuously calling out Duke Dennis and AMP to play him in the Savage Squad in the 5v5, which Duke would constantly deny due to AMP not having really any serious basketball players. And that led to Nick like trying to continuously troll Duke on social media, saying that he was scared and this and that, basically trying to force him to play. And eventually that beef between the two of them would die down a little bit up until the point of July 25th, 2022, when AMP would drop their annual XXL freshman cypher. And during that cypher, Kai and Phantom would take it amongst them.
I'm not gonna lie, they did drop a banger with that one. That diss on that drill track, yeah, that was a vibe though. If you were there, you know.
Themselves to diss Nick Briz and some of their lyrics.
You a bitch, let's be real, you was never a shit. 45, fake ass trap, that nigga, you can suck my dick.
So obviously they trolled Nick about faking his content, and at that point it was about a year since Chris White had exposed him for everything he was doing. So around the time the cypher dropped, Nick was basically just clinging on to the last little bit of career he had left. But you see, after AMP dropped that diss, it kind of made him a little relevant again. So he decided to try to completely capitalize off this moment the best way he could, which is by being a quote-unquote menace. This led to him once again trying to start up this beef with Duke, taking some jabs at him on social media, and then he would do the unthinkable and pull up to Duke Dennis's hood known as D Block, which is a neighborhood in South Carolina that Duke and his friends and family grew up in, that was nicknamed D Block to honor his late cousin D. So in the video, when Nick pulled up to D Block, he didn't really do anything bad. He was giving away basketballs to the kids. He was
subtly digging at Duke. He's like, oh, he don't really be out here with y'all like that, huh? He was basically baiting them into giving Duke bad PR, and then he got ran up out of there.
Cooking on the grill, and he even had them do like challenges and things for money. But the problem was, he didn't really do this out of the kindness of his heart. He was only here to make Duke look bad. And after he was here filming for a very brief period of time, eventually word was spread that he was on D Block doing this whole fiasco, and that led to some of the D Block steppers pulling up like D Block Davo, and he completely ran Nick out of his shoes, which Nick Briz would later claim only happened because he feared for his life.
Y'all good? Yeah, you got it. Problem, bro. Yeah, but you keep posting all that crazy ass shit on Instagram and shit. Posting what crazy stuff, bro? They've been coming at me forever, bro. Hey, bro, I'm... No. You wanna let you know, bro? Shit, bro. Hey, to the camera. Hey, look, hey, to the camera. To the camera, telling you about this shit. Tell you respect, dude. Telling you respect, dude. It's really done. I'm telling you.
Hey, he got critical.
Up on me, looking mad and shit, got fucking glaring straight through my eyes, and I'm just like, oh shit, I might die. But thankfully I didn't, you know what I mean? And
So after this, things really started.
You can't play victim after you brought it on yourself. You didn't go there just to help those kids. You went over there to slight somebody else. Eh, You can make the argument that help is help no matter where it comes from, but help with ill intent is the same to me in my eyes as no help at all, because you're not actually assisting me because you care for me. This isn't going to be a consistent thing. You showed up because it benefited you. So it's selfish assistance, which is the same as no assistance at all. That's how I view it, at least.
Started to die down for Nick in his career. He burned almost all of the bridges that he had. At this point, everyone knew he was a fraud, so the whole little fighting in the basketball videos thing wasn't really working out as much. So really the entire reason why people really enjoyed his content went completely out the window, and that's what led to him going from averaging over 1 million views per video to now struggling to hit 100,000 views within the past year. He recently returned to uploading on his YouTube channel just 4 weeks ago, and it seems like he's completely given up on the whole basketball content thing. And now it seems like he's turned to gambling and doing content for gambling sponsors and things of that nature, with his last 2 videos being college football bet guides. So it's safe to say that faking his content and not truly being himself was what really ruined Nick's career. And honestly, that was truly all just the surface level of all the things he got exposed for, because there was a lot of things that I didn't even mention. Like I said, he was being disrespectful to all of these YouTubers. He was taking advantage of his friends and teammates. I even remember Kai digging up an old tweet of him saying the N-word from like 2013. There was literally so much that he got exposed for within the span of like a year. It was insane. And while he's now doing content based around sports betting, I bet that he wishes he could go back in time and do this whole thing over again. But that's just my personal opinion. As you guys know, the only opinion that matters to me is y'all's. So with that being said, be sure to comment down below.
Yeah, shout out A-Bando. This is a blast for the past. I ain't think nobody was going to talk about Nick Briz these days. But yeah, he's spitting though. That man got some issues. He got some issues. But it's okay though. You know what I'm saying? Somebody got to get to it. So why not him?